Serious victims of bullying, what happened and how did it affect your life? I grew up being bullied by not only my peers, but also by family members. I still have incredibly low self-esteem. I have a hard time dating anyone, and I basically refuse to take compliments from people because I'm afraid they'll just tell me they're joking anyway. It's been rough. I'm 25 and still trying to deal with shit from my teenage years. I'm 51 and am still unpacking shit from my teens. Hell, over the pandemic I realized the worst of the bullying came from my own family. And yeah, it has taken me decades to recover any self-esteem. But hey, they wouldn't have teased me if they didn't like me, right? Well, I now enjoy video games and talking to people anonymously more than going out and meeting people. I have social anxiety, which is included in the generalized anxiety package. Yeah, duck those times. I'm in this post and I don't like it. I still think a guy is joking when they say they find me attractive. Same. I used to be the victim of a very elaborate ongoing joke where one of the popular guys in my CL butthole constantly sexually harbored me from 9th grade. Telling me the explicit sexual things he wanted to do to me. Touching me inappropriately and so on. And I had to play along like I thought it was funny, because if I complained it meant I thought he was being serious about it. And it would have been so pathetic and delusional of me to think that he actually had any interest of the sort in me. Not only has this made it difficult for me to see any guy's genuine interest as something else than a cruel joke. It has also made it impossible for me to stand up to sexual harassment later in life. Oh my god. I had the exact same thing happen. I was a very naive 12-year-old and he'd stand behind me in line to go into CL butt and air hump me and loudly say disgusting things. The joke being that it was ridiculous that anyone would want to do anything like that to me. Inevitably, I'd go into CL butt and cry silently at the back from the confusion and shame. A lot of what he was doing I didn't even understand at the time. Only that I hated it. I'd been brought up to ignore bullies. So I'd stare blankly dead ahead while this hideous dirty little kid did these things. Over and over and over again. I made up my mind I'd ignore it unless he actually physically touched me. Of course. The one time he did actually touch me was in class. I immediately battered him over the head with my binder. Not hard. Just a bop to let him know that that was going too far. And of course, I was the one to get detention for hitting someone in class. The whole CL butt was looking at me and I couldn't explain that this was the latest thing in months of harassment. I just took my detention in silence. I moved school very shortly after for unrelated reasons, but I still fantasize about smashing his smug little face into the ducking pavement. Someone got paid to date me once. Ever since then I was always skeptical that someone actually found me attractive. That is horrible. You don't deserve to have been made to feel like this. The person who paid the individual did it because I recently went through a horrible breakup and he hated seeing me depressed. I've forgiven him since then because his heart was in the right place, but whenever I've been approached by women I think they have ulterior motive or just drunk. I've been slowly growing out of this, so there is hope. I have trouble trusting people. If someone is nice to me, I assume that they have an ulterior motive or think about ways that they could harm me. I get along with my coworkers, but I don't let many people get close enough to know me. I relate to this. I know I also have a problem where I tend to read negative things into the way people talk to me and interact with me. Like I have a tendency to assume people are passive aggressively insulting me when in all actuality they probably like me just fine and don't mean anything by it. I've gotten a lot better at not taking things personally, but every now and then it still pops up in my brain. Exactly this. And also being constantly stressed that the people I spent time building long and meaningful relationships with will suddenly hate me because of literally anything. My peers weren't bullies, but they made it clear they didn't care about me / I had no friends. My brother was the one that would bully me during our childhood, so I grew up not having any friends and having no one to trust in my family. With that said, I still think I had a good childhood, seeing as I was never physically abused or anything, but I still have very little trust for others. This is type of bullying that is valid. It's called social bullying, where a community freezes out an individual. It is very hard to get at because it's not one/a few perpetrators, but the whole community surrounding the individual contributes to the bullying. It's often the case that they are not even aware that they are in fact bullying. They'll say stuff like, "We thought that person preferred being alone." I work in a school in Sweden. Not sure all the terminology translates. It's like the concept of being a pariah or outcast, so it makes sense. I was the kid who got bullied by all the popular kids and ostracized. I had a crush on a boy, and they found out. So they pranked me saying he wanted to ask me out, but was too shy. So I asked him out in the hall, only for him to brutally reject me in front of everyone, and they all laughed. I was also beaten up by a girl who dragged me by my ponytail and told me I wasn't cool enough to hang out with the popular kids. I still have a lot of self-doubt and anxiety at 34. I feel a lot of the time like people don't really want me around and just tolerate me and then talk about me behind my back. This wasn't helped at all during my marriage. My ex was emotionally abusive and often told me I didn't want to leave him because nobody else would treat me as good as he did. This kept my self-esteem low and I became pretty reclusive. I'm now very much the kind of person who doesn't reach out to anyone, and I just wait for them to come to me. It's safer that way. If they're the ones reaching out, then it must mean they do want to be around. It's something I'm working on, though. I realize it's unhealthy to never reach out, so I'm stepping out of my comfort zone to nurture relationships and grow. My boyfriend is amazing and supportive of this and encourages me to reach out. So far it has mostly been with my family. I have a ton of cousins I used to be close to, and I'm working on rebuilding those relationships. The pandemic makes it hard, but I find I feel better after even just a phone call. I'm trying to reclaim my life and not let the bullying and abuse of my past close me off to the world. I was bullied as a teenager. I had crooked teeth, bushy eyebrows and dark circles around my eyes. I was also anemic, so I was so pale. They called me zombie, witch girl and other hurtful things. I got braces in college and worked out, and a lot of guys started complimenting me, which I always thought was another prank. It took me years to love and accept myself and to not let myself seek attention from other men. I was so desperate for love and attention that I allowed myself to be abused by an ex and to be the side chick of another. I'm doing okay now, though. Finally, something I can answer. I was bullied in my younger years for a considerable amount of time. I'm 24 now. It still affects my day-to-day life. I'm incredibly insecure. Automatically assume people who compliment me are joking. I also struggle to trust people. I have awful social skills now. I never went further with my education because of it. Also took a huge toll on my mental health. Developed some unhealthy coping mechanisms. It really messed with my self-worth and how I view myself. But my life is slowly but surely getting better. I'm in the same exact boat as you, but 26. I don't have anything else to offer. But just know we apparently aren't as alone as we thought, lol. Been reading so many posts here, and as horrible and selfish it is to say, seeing more people that had gone through similar experiences is mildly comforting. I hope things continue to get better for you. This thread has helped me so much. At 25 with no job and almost zero social skills, it's helped me feel less alone. The thing I hate most is that most of my teen life and early 20s I overachieved and earned a good amount of money for my age. Now I'm without work for a few years. I feel beyond worthless. I don't want to say what happened, but I'm currently homeschooled. Have been to 3 public schools and they didn't work out. Been into the psych ward and now I'm deeply insecure and suicidal. When I was in the 5th grade I started to get kinda overweight and kids started to bully me about it. So I would sit on the bus trying to choke myself with my belt. Unsuccessful due to my wide body. So I would try to stop eating. Then eventually I got skinnier. Then the kids made fun of me again because I had lost all of that weight. So I punched the main guy as hard as I could and got expelled. Now I feel insecure about everything and don't talk to people. Just sit in my room playing games and working out. The other girls didn't think I was friend material, so I was excluded from a lot of things between the ages 6 and 16. I enjoy solitude a lot more than most people I've met. Probably because I had to learn to be by myself. I won't necessarily call it bullying, but all of my peers from age 10 to 17 have avoided me and made it very clear they do not want to get to know me. To be fair, I was a really weird kid/teenager with entirely different interests and a lot less patience for social situations than my classmates. Also struggled with empathy quite a lot, since I could never understand people getting upset or being really excited. I'd say those experiences have shaped my current social behavior in its entirety, and I will always feel like I don't really fit in anywhere. You sound like you have an inch personality. I do. Read about MT. It might help you understand yourself a little more. My twin and I were bullied in school for having lesbian parents. Over the years I was less bullied than her as I became a more popular kid, and she was in the goth loner group. She took her life when we were 15. I have trust issues. I can't sleep a lot of nights due to the PTSD of having to hear my mom screaming at 4 AM and me running upstairs and seeing my sister hanging from her ceiling fan. I had to call my other mom who lived across town and tell her that her daughter was dead. I have severe depression and high anxiety. I gained some weight. I ended up getting married when I was 19. Currently almost 22. It's hard for me to hold a job due to everything. I'm currently broke as hell and trying. I found a good therapist and got a job that I start tomorrow, and am hoping things get better from here. I was bullied in middle school and in high school. My experiences were not severe, or at least I didn't think they were. I was confident in myself and wasn't concerned with what they said, thought, or did. I ignored those people and found a group of friends that meant a lot to me, and I actually enjoyed most of high school. My father actually sat me down and discussed the things he went through, so by 2nd grade when someone tried to say something I was just like, "Is that it?" There was some light bullying from peers throughout my schooling, but my mom was the worst. Dad didn't know to prepare me for that mess. Still working through the BS she implanted in my brain, but have gone LC, and my son is very well adjusted so far. I have learned to avoid anyone that makes me feel worse through their words/actions. Just drop them. Now if you screwed up and they are mad, that is something different. Take responsibility, not abuse. The problem with that advice is low status people who do that eventually have very few friends, and that means there's more people to go against them. There's a very common scenario with people, even best friends, where they will be in the presence of higher status people or outnumbered by a certain group of people, and will turn on their own friend who they really do care about. You see an extreme example of this in emergencies. During a smoking fire, even members of the same family will trample each other trying to get out of an exit. There's no magic fix for bullying. Bullying happens in every single species on Earth. The stronger pick on the weaker all the way down the chain. The only real way to stop bullying is to make the consequences affect the bully's status to the point where it's not worth it, like marks that colleges will see. When I was 6 I got bullied by my classmates. Whenever I said I liked anything/showed interest in something, everyone around me said it was stupid and or made fun of me. I remember they wanted me to admit that I was a wimp on an almost daily basis. I didn't even know what they meant, so I always answered with silence. Then after maybe 14 months it randomly stopped, and I became friends the guy who bullied me the most by giving him Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Though it made me so insecure that I didn't even start to listen to music on my own until I was 18. Because I felt that someone would judge me for picking literally any available song on Spotify. Same thing kind of goes for hobbies, movies, books, shows, games and so on. But even for more serious stuff like crushes, political opinions and life plans. Yeah, can relate. Some people are absurdly insecure. A random dude felt insecure because I heard to Eminem, so the dude tried to taint my image and target my weaknesses. He felt he was cooler than me, and someone less cooler than him should listen to Eminem. I mean, I heard to Eminem because I related to him. Funny how twisted people can be. Because of that, even I felt strange listening to Eminem or saying I like him. Some people have that superiority complex. Fuck him. Was bullied because of my strength. Not because I was too weak, but because I was too strong. Anyways, that led to me becoming very introvert and shy, because I didn't want to seem threatening to others, and wanted to be liked. Long story short, I got to a point where I was like duck it, and decided that I didn't have to devalue myself for others. Now a 19-year-old male hoss being recruited for professional football. I was cyberbullied. The bully informed us she went to our school and then listed off the school's name, my best friend's name, and so on. She made us play sick, sadistic games to find out her real identity while she taunted us. Once we were about to find out her identity, I did something to piss her off. She said, "You know what? I'm you/run with owls. It is her fault I exist." Then most of my friends shunned me for the better part of a year. Most people think it's easier to go through than being bullied in person. For me, it was not. Every time I go on anything online, I'm scared she'll be there again. I'm scared she'll torment me and my friends again. I'm scared that she may be one of my friends. I'm not sure I'll ever truly recover. I probably have a little more paranoia than the average person, and I like to be alone most of the time in my personal life. Professionally, I feel like it's all fake and people will turn on me in an instant, but I keep up with the status quo. Whenever I see people whispering, I assume they are talking about me. I'm scared of teenage boys and boys around my age. I'm very anxious around people, and I put myself down before others can put me down. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.